And a good evening, everyone. This is Big John. I'm joined with Kinsley Keys and the coach Wayne Rogers. We're coming to you live from Decatur, Mississippi on senior night here at Newton County High School. The Tigers are on the road tonight in their final game of the season, taking on the Cougars. And there's no playoff implications tonight between the two schools, Kinsley. They are just, battling out to get a season-ending win in a must-win game to kind of help each other's pride and to going into next season. How do you see this one playing out, Kinsley? Then we're going to hear from the coach, Wayne Rogers.
Well, Big John, I see this playing out pretty well. I mean, this is pretty much an evenly matched matchup tonight. I mean, you have both teams lacking impressive records, so I mean, if this is the final opportunity for the Tigers to get a win, if they're going to get that win, this is the perfect team to do it against. So I mean, looking at the team, Newton County, they have some skill, but they're not overloaded with skill. So I mean, it'll pretty much be a good matchup. Unlike the Tigers, they have a lot of skill position, and they just have their struggles in certain areas. So like I said, if they're going to get a win, this is the night to do it. This is the team to do it against, and I think they will actually pull out a win tonight. And end this season on that positive note, and just take that winning tradition into next season.
Yeah, that's something that the Tigers really need tonight. This is a game where, they can build on it going into next season in the off season. And it's a must-win game for the Tigers. Coach Braddock has had a winning record against Newton County in his 9 seasons as head coach of the Tigers. He's only lost to the Cougars once, and that was a game that was 20-16. So Coach Rogers, talk to us about this game. Teams are not really having the greatest of seasons, but they're trying to go into next season to build on a positive outcome and to try to build off something.
Yeah, like you said earlier, John, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be here at senior night at Newton County. Newton County looking to go out with a victory on senior night, something to be memorial for them. And Coach Braddock's trying to, end the season with a little sweet taste in his mouth and finish out with a win to go into spring training. Beautiful night for football. Finally got football weather, so I think we're going to see a good game tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a chilly night. Not really, chilly and cold. At kickoff, we're looking right now. The temperature is 55 degrees. It's cloudy, and it feels like 54. The humidity's at 84%. The dew point's at 50 with the winds blowing in at 5 miles an hour. So, Kinsley, football weather is finally here, buddy.
It is. It is finally here, and I am not a fan. I mean, I'm literally freezing over here. But hey, when it comes to football, I can look over. But it's every bit of 50-something degrees out here.
Oh yeah, I think it's colder than 54. But I don't have a thermometer.
Just luckily, there's no really lack of wind right now. But I got 5 layers on up top, 2 on bottom.
Yeah, I've got 2 layers on me, and I've got some sweatpants I picked up from the Walmart earlier, so I'm ready to go. I know Coach Jones is down there warmed up. So, Coach Rogers, talk about these nights where it's cold. How is it as a coach? Tell us about that.
As long as you're winning, it's pretty good, John. That's the good thing about it. As I was saying, last year I coached in a game up in Holly Springs. Last game of the season, it was 34 degrees, drizzling rain, with a sideways wind at about 15, and you fall behind, and it's the kids aren't used to playing in that, and unfortunately down here we don't see a lot of real cold weather. But when we do have it, the kids, I don't know, it's hard for them to make an adjustment and go out and play in it. It rained last night, so but we're looking at a good field. It looks dry, but it's still they're going to be wet and they're going to be cold. Jump on them early and stay motivated, and they'll be okay, because when you get behind, it makes it tough.
Absolutely. You know, last year's game, and you don't want to really harp on last season because it's a new season. The Tigers whipped up on Newton County 41-7 to end the season. So, Kinsley, talk about some players that are going to be big in the Tigers game tonight, and talk about that.
Well, there's a lot of gifted athletes on the Tiger football team. Just to kind of go over some of the stats for the season, quarterback we have 5'5" McGee. On the season, he has 542 passing yards. He's passed 4 touchdowns along with 4 interceptions, but on the ground, he has 235 rushing yards to go along with 7 touchdowns. At the running back position, senior Jazalen Morris, who was one of our players of the week last week, he has 274 rushing yards. He kind of came along later in the season because he was still healing from an injury from last season. But he really came along fine and had the great 96-yard kickoff return touchdown last week. So thus far on the season, he has 274 rushing yards, 397 kickoff return yards, along with 1 touchdown from that kickoff return. I also want to from the wide receiver position, Jay Jones, who was also one of our players of the week from the last contest. He has 365 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns on the season, so he's the leading receiver for the Tigers. Behind him is Mason Smith, who's just been all over the place for the Tigers. Tremendous athlete, tremendous speed. And so far, he's amassed 175 receiving yards to go along with 2 touchdowns. On defense, as far as leading tacklers, have Cody Hyatt, who's also been one of our players of the week. He has 65 tackles to lead the Tiger defense, followed by Ben Knight, who has 51, and also Michael Waite with a 48. Leading the Tiger defense in sacks is Zach Rogers, who has 2 on the season, along with Tyquan Jasper, Alan McCree, and Carson Broadway tied with 1. Leading the interceptions department is Mason Smith, who has 3. Tyquan Jasper has 2. Carson Broadway, Jay Jones, Cody Hyatt, and Jalen Hudson each have 1. So a lot of playmakers on the Tiger team, offense and defense. It's just we just kind of really struggled this season, just trying to find the consistency and just to put it all together and just really just play that 4 quarters of football. But John, I'm telling you, if had they done all that, I would really say the Tigers would really have a very impressive record this season. But this final game, ended on a positive note, and then they still have some talent coming back next year. They're losing a couple of valuable players in 5'5" McGee, Jazalen Morris, and Jay Jones. So they those 3 players are, they will be missed next season. But they have a lot of underclassmen who have a lot of talent. Those players are going to have to step up, and I believe the Tigers are going to really show what type of team they really could be next year.
Absolutely. Now let's give a little rundown of the history between the Cougars and Tigers on the season, are overall. Now, this is going to be the 14th overall game. NEJ won last year 41-7. The first game was in 1991. NEJ won that game 14-2. Coach Braddock overall is 7-1 head-to-head against Newton County. Newton County lost last week to West Lauderdale 53-13. NEJ lost to Mendenhall in a shootout 52-35. Now, here are your current Region 5 4A standings as we speak, going into the final games of the regular season tonight. West Lauderdale leads the pack with a 4-0 record and 9-1 record overall. Mendenhall is 3-1 and 8-1 overall. Northeast Lauderdale is 3-1 and 6-3. Quitman is 2-2 and 5-5 overall. The Tigers are 0-4 and 0-9 overall, and Newton County is 0-4 and 2-8 for the season. Now, the other games in the region tonight will be West Lauderdale at Northeast Lauderdale in a battle of Lauderdale schools. So that one should be an interesting game. Should Northeast Lauderdale beat West Lauderdale by a touchdown, then you're going to have a 3-way tie to decide the winner of Region 5 4A standings. However, if Quitman beats Mendenhall tonight, then Northeast Lauderdale will be your Region 5 4A champion. So a lot can happen tonight at Northeast Lauderdale. Other local games in Jones County tonight include North Pike at Laurel, West Jones at Wingfield, and Brookhaven at South Jones. Now, there's an interesting game where if South Jones beats Brookhaven and they beat Wingfield next week, then they're pretty much in. If not, if they don't beat Brookhaven, then they're going to be sitting at the house during playoffs. So, Coach, talk to us. How important are these last games to finish up on a winning note and to really make a playoff run? I know the Tigers won't be making the playoffs this year, but how important is it to get that last W?
Oh, it's always important, John. Every coach goes into the game with short-range goals, long-range goals. Of course, everybody wants to win the district, but they also want to make the playoffs. And every year you can make the playoffs. I think it adds to your program. You get kids out, and you've got some stability about yourself. But going out, neither one of these two teams will make the playoffs, and it just sets a sweet taste in your mouth for spring training and the second semester, trying to get ready for next year.
All right, so tonight's contest, the Tigers will be wearing all white. They'll be wearing the black helmets, the white shirts, the white pants, the white cleats with the black numbers. So it should be an easy one to read for the roster purposes. Now, on the home team, the Newton County Cougars, the Cougars will be wearing all blue pants, blue shirt, gray pants, okay. Kind of hard to tell from here. But they'll be wearing the orange helmet. So two teams evenly matched, and it should be a shootout and a really good contest for those here in attendance, Coach.
Oh, yeah. They're going it's going to be a good crowd. It's finally got football weather. Rained last night, like I said, but hopefully people will come out and support their team. That's one thing kids need today. They just need support. They want to see family. They want to see people up in the bleachers, especially if you're a senior playing your last game.
Absolutely. Kinsley, it's really been a lot of fun following the Tigers this season. Although they haven't had the season that they wanted to, it's been fun. And we're excited about that. We're excited about our first game at Southeastern Baptist College tomorrow as they take on New Rock. So a busy weekend for us here on Something to Talk About.
It really is, but when anytime you're dealing with sports, you're always going to be busy because, to be honest, sports is a busy time of the season, but the thing about it is it's a year-round thing.
Hey, how about our great sponsors, too? We have some really good sponsors, and I tell you what, Kinsley, they help make this thing happen because without them, we couldn't do the things that we do. We couldn't go to these games. We couldn't eat at Zach Garvin's Steakhouse and get one of those oh-so-good ribeyes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tough job, but somebody has got to do it. So who are our sponsors, and tell us how good of folks these are.
Oh, yeah, huge shout-out to our sponsors for making our broadcast possible. Raising Cane's, Stacy Sims Barber, 601 Graphics, Laurel Home Center. Also Middleton's Tree Service, and Laurie's Furniture, Rasmu's Party Supply, the newest party supply place in Laurel, and also Kim's Nissan. So a huge shout-out to all of our wonderful sponsors who back our broadcast, support our broadcast week in, week out. We can't thank them enough for just making this broadcast possible.
You're absolutely right. It's going to be a big show tomorrow. We're going to be live from Kim's, and we have a big lineup for you. We've got Miss Sandra that's going to be talking to us about the things they have to offer at Old River Deer Processing. We've got an old friend of the show, Billy Ray, going to come talk to us and give us an update on Ole Miss sports. Are you ready to meet up with Billy Ray?
Sure, John. I'm pretty sure it'll be a unique opportunity.
Absolutely. So, and then we're going to talk with Big Ten Kevin there at Kim's
Big Ten Kevin. Big Ten Kevin, and then we got when we're going to see Big Ten Bob.
Well, Big Ten Bob is playing in the Sanderson Farms tournament.
Okay.
So he'll be back with us next week.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know if we got the president coming in here, but we got somebody coming in on a chopper, not a chopper.